Recognizing the Stoic personality. Recognizing the Stoic personality, imagine walking through life with a serenity that seems unbreakable, where the storms of emotion rarely disturb you and where each challenge meets you with absolute calm. This is not a fantasy, it is a reality for those with a Stoic personality. Although Stoic philosophy has been discussed in many areas, we rarely stop to identify its characteristics in the personality of an average person. Have you ever wondered if your behavior and reactions to life reflect this ancient philosophy? Having a personality inclined towards Stoicism does not mean being cold or distant, it means understanding and living according to certain principles, such as valuing reason above uncontrolled emotions, or accepting the things we cannot change. It is a perspective that leads us to a life of greater harmony and purpose in our daily lives. It's that person who, in the face of traffic chaos, remains calm, or who, in the middle of a conflict, looks for solutions instead of blame. This is someone who does not get carried away by the ups and downs of popularity or criticism, but who focuses on his own path and his own truth. Get ready to dive into the signs that indicate you have or are developing a Stoic personality. Each of these signs is a compass that guides us towards a fuller and more centered life. And who knows, at the end of this path, you might discover that you've been a Stoic all along without even knowing it. Signal 1. Let's delve into the first sign that indicates an inclination towards the Stoic personality: control over emotions. If you've ever admired someone who seems to remain unflappable in the middle of a crisis while others around them lose their composure, chances are you're looking at someone with a Stoic streak. Stoic philosophy teaches us that emotions are not inherently evil. It's not about suppressing them, but about understanding them and, above all, not allowing them to dominate us. A Stoic understands that feeling emotions is natural, but they also know that giving in to emotional impulses without reflection can lead to actions we later regret. Let's think about an everyday situation. You are in a traffic jam and someone suddenly cuts off your path. The initial reaction of many could be anger or the desire to confront the other driver. But someone with a Stoic bent will allow the emotion, acknowledge it, but choose not to act impulsively based on it. Instead of yelling or taking some impulsive action, you will simply get back on your way, recognizing that getting angry will not change the situation and will only add stress to your day. Another example could be receiving unexpected criticism at work. While some may feel hurt or defensive, a Stoic will evaluate criticism objectively, take the constructive, and set aside any negative emotions that are not helpful. This emotional control does not mean being robotic or insensitive. It is, in fact, a deep recognition of our emotions and a conscious choice of how to act in the face of them. It's a balance between feeling and acting wisely. As we move on to the next sign, reflect. How many times have you allowed your emotions to dominate you? And how many times have you decided to act despite them? The difference may be in how Stoic you are. Signal 2. While many struggle and resist in the face of adverse circumstances, individuals with Stoic tendencies have a distinct approach, accepting what they cannot change. This is our second sign and perhaps one of the most powerful. Epictetus, one of the most notable Stoic philosophers, offered us the so-called dichotomy of control, which basically teaches us that there are things we have control over and things we don't have control over. Our own actions, desires, and opinions fall within our control. On the other hand, the body, reputation, and most external events are not under our control. Understanding this differentiation is essential to living a full and peaceful life. Imagine you are waiting for a flight and it is delayed due to bad weather. People around you show signs of impatience, irritation, and some even argue with airport staff. However, someone with a Stoic mindset will likely carry a book or find productive ways to spend their time, accepting that they have no control over the weather or airline decisions. Or think about an unexpected illness. It is natural to feel fear or sadness, but the Stoic, although he feels these emotions, does not allow himself to be overwhelmed by them. Instead of lamenting, you will seek to understand the illness, follow medical recommendations and take advantage of the recovery time to learn or reflect. Recognize that you cannot change the onset of the disease, but rather your response to it. Accepting does not mean resigning, it is an active stance of understanding, adaptation, and growth. At the heart of this sign lies a serenity in the face of the inevitable, but also a determination in the face of what is in our hands. Signal 3. With this perspective, we move towards our next sign, in which we will explore the importance of looking within. Know thyself, that phrase, although often associated with ancient Greece, is a mantra at the heart of Stoicism. People with Stoic tendencies understand that in order to navigate the external world, they must first understand their internal world, and this is where we come to our third sign, the emphasis on self-reflection. Introspection is a powerful tool in the hands of those seeking an authentic and meaningful life. Stoics do not view self-reflection as a luxury or a passing activity, they see it as a necessity. This practice allows them to identify areas for improvement in their lives, understand their emotions and, ultimately, make decisions aligned with their values and principles. Let's visualize a person with a Stoic personality in their everyday life. After a long and possibly stressful day, instead of immediately immersing himself in distractions or entertainment, he or she takes a moment for himself or herself. Sit in a quiet place, perhaps with a journal in hand, and reflect on the day's events. This daily exercise of introspection can manifest itself through structured questions. And here is where we come across a classic Stoic exercise. At the end of the day, many Stoics ask themselves three essential questions: what did I do well, what did I do wrong, and what can I improve? These questions are not intended to self-flagellate or inflate your ego, but rather to provide a clear and objective view of your daily actions and decisions. For example, if during the day they lost patience with a colleague, they will recognize this behavior in their reflection and look for ways to handle similar situations with more equanimity in the future. If they helped someone selflessly, they will celebrate that act as aligned with their values. Self-reflection is a compass that guides you to self-improvement. With this introspective focus, we move towards the next sign, where we will explore how the Stoics face the ever-challenging world of other people's opinions. Signal 4. We live in an era of likes and dislikes, where every activity, decision, or lifestyle can be instantly judged by one's social circle. But imagine for a moment someone who, in the midst of social expectations and traditions among friends, decides to radically change the way they spend their weekends. This is our fourth sign, indifference to other people's opinions. Let's imagine one. For years, his weekend routine consisted of going out to parties with friends, enjoying the nightlife and alcohol. However, one day he decides he wants to make a change in his life. He chooses to stop going out so often and limit his alcohol consumption, not because he dislikes it, but because he feels that there are other activities that can enrich him more personally, such as reading, playing sport, or simply resting. His friends' reaction is mixed. Some support him and admire his decision, seeing him as an example of self-discipline and personal growth, but others feel offended or betrayed. They say that he has become boring, that he is no longer the same, and there are even those who suggest that one thinks he is superior because he does not want to continue with the same routines. For Juan, with his Stoic mentality, these opinions, whether supportive or critical, do not define his value or his decision. Understand that each person has their own path and priorities. The decision you made is aligned with your current values and what you feel you need at this point in your life. Comments, whether approving or disapproving, do not change your conviction. This detachment from other people's opinions, born not of indifference towards others, but of respect for oneself and one's decisions, is a distinctive characteristic of the Stoic mentality. In a world where social pressure can be overwhelming, having the ability to listen, but not necessarily accept the opinions of others, is a true display of inner strength. With this reflection on authenticity and respect for our decisions, we move towards the following sign, which tells us about the intrinsic value of effort and action. Signal 5. Now, as the next step, let's delve into a characteristic that is truly powerful, focusing on action more than on results. Marcus Aurelius, the famous Roman emperor and Stoic, left us with the phrase, "Focus on what is essential, forget the rest." This goes beyond simply focusing on a task, it is a call to value the journey, the process, each step of the way as much or more than the final goal. Think of a marathon runner. Although crossing the finish line is his goal, he knows that to get there he must focus on every step, every breath, every kilometer he covers. Each step contains within itself all the other steps. If you only focus on the end result, you could become distracted, burn out too quickly, or even get lost along the way. In everyday life, this idea manifests itself in multiple ways. Imagine you are working on a work project. If you only think about the final presentation and not about research, development, and review, you could end up with mediocre work. But, if you value each step, if you immerse yourself in each step of the process with total dedication, you will not only obtain a quality result, but you will also enjoy and learn on the journey. It's easy to obsess about goals, especially in a society that values success so much. However, Stoicism reminds us of the importance of living in the present, of focusing on what lies ahead, because, after all, it is in the now that life really happens. With this reflection on the importance of valuing the effort and the process itself, we prepare to enter into our next sign, an inclination towards simplicity and how to avoid unnecessary complications. Signal 6. Continuing on our journey, the sixth sign invites us to take a step further, to a dimension where the essence of things is celebrated and the superfluous is eliminated. Seek simplicity. Seneca, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, once said, "It's not the burden that breaks you, it's the way you carry it." This quote reflects the notion of simplifying our lives by eliminating the unnecessary, self-imposed burdens that complicate our existence. In an era where information overload and a culture of excess seem to be the norm, simplicity becomes a revolutionary act. But how do those with a Stoic personality practice this? Let's imagine decision-making, where many would carry out extensive and paralyzing analyses. A Stoic would ask, does this align with my principles and values? Does this bring me closer to my core goals? By doing this, the decision process becomes much simpler and more direct. Premeditation, or premeditatio malorum, a Stoic technique that involves visualizing adversity or potential problems, also contributes to simplicity. By anticipating errors and complications, Stoics are better prepared to face them, opting for simpler solutions and avoiding bigger problems in the long term. A contemporary Stoic figure, Ryan Holiday, highlights this quest for simplicity in his work. Holiday reminds us that less is more and that by eliminating noise and distractions, we can find clarity and purpose. Simplicity, in essence, does not mean lack, but focus. It's consciously choosing what to allow into our lives and what to discard in order to live more authentically and in line with our values. With this focus on simplicity and how Stoicism invites us to eliminate the superfluous, we prepare to delve into the transformative power of gratitude and how Stoics focus on what they have, rather than lamenting what they lack. Signal 7. We come across a powerful practice that has transcended time. Practicing gratitude is an attitude that not only strengthens our resilience, but also transforms our perspective on the world around us. The Stoics, although they are often considered reason-centered people, have always emphasized the importance of valuing what we already have. It's a constant reminder that, although we can't always control what happens around us, we always have control over how we interpret and react to those circumstances. Epictetus, an ancient Stoic philosopher, taught us that it is not what happens that disturbs us, but rather our opinion about what happens. Practicing gratitude is, in essence, choosing to see the richness of the present, instead of focusing on what we think we lack. But how does this practice manifest itself in everyday life? Take for example William B. Irvine, a contemporary author who has delved into modern Stoicism. Irvine suggests a daily exercise where, at the beginning and end of the day, we take a few moments to reflect on 3 things we are grateful for. They can be simple gestures, such as a bird singing or the aroma of coffee in the morning, or more significant events, such as health or the company of loved ones. To understand the importance of gratitude, imagine that one day you wake up and everything you took for granted disappears. What would you do to get it back? Now, think about all these things and situations you have right now. Isn't that reason enough to be grateful? Gratitude, in essence, is a choice, and when we choose it, we not only strengthen our inner peace, but we also light the path for those around us. Now, with a heart full of gratitude and recognizing its transformative power, we prepare for the next sign, which will tell us about the strength of mental independence and how the Stoics choose to walk along paths less traveled, based on their own discernment. Signal 8. Navigating the depths of Stoic philosophy, we come across a powerfully resonant idea: mental independence. We live in a world flooded with information, opinions and trends that often encourage us to go with the flow, to adhere to the norm, to be just one of the crowd. However, the Stoic dares to be different, dares to question, reflect and, above all, follow his own criteria. Massimo Pigliucci, a contemporary philosopher who has revitalized discussions about Stoicism, argues that it is essential to learn to differentiate between external voices and our internal voice. It's not about automatically rejecting what's popular or what others think, but about critically examining it and deciding whether it truly resonates with our values and principles. Let's take a practical example. Imagine that all your friends are buying the latest smartphone on the market and social pressure pushes you to do the same. A Stoic would stop and reflect: do I really need this new device? Will it bring me genuine value, or am I simply being influenced by advertising and the opinions of others? This type of self-interrogation allows the Stoic to make decisions based on their real needs and not on passing whims or external pressures. Furthermore, mental independence also manifests itself in the ability to discern and question the information we consume daily. In times of mass and often contradictory information, the Stoic strives to go beyond the headlines, investigate sources and reach his own conclusions. In a world where it is easy to get lost in the noise, mental independence is a beacon that guides the Stoic through the turbulent waters of modern society, ensuring that their internal compass always points to what is authentic and true to them. And as we embrace mental independence, let us not forget that growth and evolution are constant in the life of the Stoic. Therefore, our next sign will take us to explore the commitment to self-improvement, a tireless quest for personal evolution, and how Stoics strive day after day to be the best version of themselves. Signal 9. Coming to the end of our journey through the signs of a Stoic personality, we find a characteristic that could well be the very essence of Stoicism: the commitment to self-improvement. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "As long as you stay alive, keep learning to live." This reflects the Stoic's constant aspiration to grow, to learn, to improve. It's not just about acquiring new knowledge or skills, but an authentic desire to become the best version of yourself, morally and ethically speaking. Consider, for example, how a Stoic approaches his education. Instead of conforming to the basics or the required, he seeks out courses, readings, and experiences that expand his perspective and help him grow as an individual. If a challenging book comes out on the market, he will read it not because of the author's fame or prestige, but because he sees it as an opportunity to learn and refine his understanding of the world. Even in the small things, the commitment to self-improvement is evident. It could be the decision to get up early to meditate or exercise, or the conscious effort to practice patience and empathy in difficult situations. And as you reflect on this journey we have undertaken together, I invite you to consider: do you dedicate time every day, every week, to your self-improvement? Are you living according to your highest values and always seeking to grow? The silent strength of the Stoic personality. After exploring these signs, it becomes evident that the Stoic personality is not simply a series of habits or behaviors, but a profound way of seeing and approaching the world, based on principles of wisdom, courage and authenticity. We navigate from emotional control, acceptance, introspection and even the constant aspiration for self-improvement. How many of these signs do you see reflected in you? Do you identify with some more than others? I invite you to reflect on this, not to judge yourself, but to recognize and value those parts of yourself that are already aligned with these principles, and to consider those that you could incorporate more fully into your life. Before I say goodbye, I invite you, dear listener, to subscribe to the channel, if you haven't already. I look forward to your thoughts in the comments. I will be delighted to read them. Here I leave you 2 videos that may capture your interest. Take care and see you soon.